Hello, welcome to episode 13 of the On the Knuckle podcast. 13 is obviously unlucky for some, but hopefully not for us because we are here in Milano in Livigno for the Winter Olympics. Obviously still catching up on some previous episodes. I'm Gaz Wessman Vogan. Obviously joined by my side is Mr. Adam Begg. Beggsy, how does it go?
It's going good. Another day snowboarding together because we're sitting next to each other. Like you said, there's a bit of a bank up of episodes because we chose to take some time off between Laax and Aspen, and now it's been a super tight schedule. It's been very busy. Aspen was crazy with 2 back-to-backs, straight into Laax, which was back-to-back, so we chose to spend some time with family and actually have a week off before another 3 weeks of intense competition.
Yeah, we actually chose some downtime. The goal was obviously, we're going to talk today about Aspen Slopestyle. The goal was to do this in Laax while we're there, but between Slopestyle qualies, semis, finals, pipe qualies, finals, we just never had the time.
We didn't
really
have a minute, did we?
Yeah, it was a very jam-packed schedule. It was an awesome event, and so we took 2 weeks off, had some downtime, and flew in yesterday, and we're in Livigno for the Winter Olympics, which is rather cool, rather exciting, I have to admit. We haven't managed to ride too much today because of various access, but we did at least get to check out the slopestyle course, which is awesome. I feel like ever since we started chatting in the Secret Garden episode, we've been, like, the whole slopestyle course has been in the back of the mind about, is it going to be done, how it's going to look, whether it's going to be shit. And it was a positive surprise.
There's a jump here, there's a good pipe here, and there's a slopestyle here, so everything's here, built, ready to go, and people are testing, so that's positive.
Yeah, there is a jump, there is a pipe, there is a slope course. That is the bare minimum of what we need. But seeing as we're just kind of briefly touching on the Milano 2026 Winter Olympics, the Olympic Excitometer, how are you feeling? What's your excitement levels at?
We're at a 9, solid 9. We're
Solid 9.
full swing. It'd be hard not to be excited. Like, now we're kind of in the bubble, and that's all we're living, breathing, feeling, riding.
Yeah, I'd probably echo a 9. I feel like I'm maybe an 8.5. I don't want to give out the 9s just yet. It's yet to kind of kick the Olympic fever. I think just because I got in late last night and today has been pretty mellow. We got our first big air training this evening, so I'm sure after we've been under the lights on the jump watching riders start to throw down, then it'll be I'll get into the spirit of things. Obviously we're going to try put as much content out as we can from Aspen and Laax over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be a little bit light on content from the Olympics just because of Rule 50, which states that you can't use the Olympics for any kind of commercial gain, etc. And we're cautious we don't want to get booted out of the Olympics in the first week. So we're going to kind of play it by ear a little bit. We'll obviously do recaps of all the Olympic events, but they might come after the Olympics when we're out of the blackout period. But do stay tuned because we might still throw some sneaky bits up on the Instagram channel just to see what we can get away with. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. But anyway, so into the Aspen Slopestyle, let's get cracking. Aspen was our first slopestyle event of the season, which got me really excited because we'd had big airs, we'd had pipes, but slopestyle is my favorite for sure. We had some changes in the weeks leading up to it because we were supposed to be in Buttermilk, Aspen, where X Games is kind of held, and then they were a bit cautious of the snow levels and the amount they could get in, so they'd moved the slopestyle to Aspen Snowmass. So 15 minutes, 20 minutes ride on the bus away. Yeah. And then it dropped to a 5-section course. Do you want to talk us through the slopestyle course, Beggsy?
Yeah, so like you said, it was over at Snowmass. It was a little unfortunate. We weren't at Buttermilk. Last year, it kind of butted into X Games, so it was very similar.
Top level pun, right?
Yeah, so last year it backed up with X Games, and we sort of got to share a course with that, well, share a build with that course essentially. This year we moved across because of snow. There was only 5 features, 2 jumps, so it's the first rail heavy course we've ever really had on tour in a while. It's built by Charles Beckenstyle, so that's always good for jumps.
That
and
always
features.
gives you confidence, doesn't it? When
Yeah.
you know Charles is there building.
Totally, and it keeps the riders are always happy with his builds and the way the jumps ride. There was an interesting first feature. with sort of 2Cs and a down bar that really kind of forced commitment on that transfer and almost separated the field from the very first feature. So that was cool. And yeah.
Second rail section was a bit interesting. It had down, flat down on the left, and then a very low but super long flat rail in the middle, which it's a sort of rail I'd hit, but you've got to be locked right till the end to get that risk and reward out of it. And then the rail on the right was just a short flat rail that wasn't that high off. Didn't add a lot of value to a rider's run if they were hitting it. It was one of those, even the hard trick on that rail still wouldn't get up to where the down, flat down kind of rail was. So that was a very interesting set of rails. And then, as you say, 2 jumps. And then the last section was kind of jump rail heavy sort of thing. It was that cannon, flat bar, and then a whoopty rail, flat to half an upside down rainbow.
Yeah, so a little short, punchy course.
Call that. Yeah, short and punchy, nice and rapid. We have forgotten to mention the best part of Aspen, though. The fact we had 2 good powder days, or 2 good powder mornings.
Yeah. I guess we touched on it in the part episode.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? But it's memorable.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go spar on that one.
How was the spar? Spar was good in Aspen. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
Really
so
good.
obviously just deterring slightly from the slopestyle course, but Beggsy's, had his little... Where does the Aspen Spar rank in terms of the last, let's say, 2 seasons of World Cups?
It's up there with one of the good ones. Top 5 for sure. Outdoors,
top 5.
2 spars and a pool, and the spars were running like 40 degrees. So when you overcooked in them, you could jump in the pool a bit to cool off. And I think we floated around in there most nights. So cool.
I think I would have Aspen as second. I think just behind St. Moritz for World Champs last year. I think that still takes the top spot just for the facilities. Outdoor, beneath the pipe, under the stars, in the snow. Can't really fault it. Just trumping Steamboat. Anyway, that was side show, side route. Cool. So that was the course of 5 sections. How was the weather?
Yeah, so we'll go into qualies, I guess.
Yeah, let's get straight in, yeah.
The weather for qualies was dumping. It was that first big snowfall we were just talking about of the season. So they hadn't had much snow before that. And law of the odds kind of put it for us that there's 2 slopestyles before Milan. No snow, but everywhere's a bit light on for snow, so that's when the snow was going to come, and it nuked down. So we didn't think we were going to be able to get a competition away. Like, they sort of delayed and delayed. It was so snowy, you could barely even see the first features, but the way the weather was, it kind of pushed through and then eased a little bit, and then we were able to get underway a little bit later and actually get a comp away, which was cool.
Yeah, so we went double up for the men's and single heat for the women's, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And we got it all done in one day, but we were already the day before that talking about plan Bs and plan C and looking to whether we could run women's qualies at the same time as pipe finals and looking at bringing in extra judges and all that jazz. So we were prepared at least.
Yeah, there was definitely some weather challenges, but yeah, like I say, we managed to squeeze it all in. We kind of held strong and stuck with section by section for women. So we took 8 from 29 through. And in that one, I guess we'll go straight to the standouts. So for me, it was those that were doing backboards through the down, flat down. It was a very street-style rail in the middle of a slopestyle course with a lot of consequence. And both Mila Stalker and Ali Hickman were backboarding through the whole thing.
Yeah. And that section 2 was on a bit of a right-hand turn on the course. So it was pretty easy it's kind of hard to get over to the left to then lock in and not slip up early. So actually holding it through the down, flat down definitely held some reward. We saw quite a lot of people take the 2 less risky options in terms of that far rail and then the middle rail, where it's kind of set you up nicely for it. There was some good rail tricks being thrown for sure.
Totally.
So let's go to the last one in terms of that bubble kind of conversation. We had Jess Perlmutter.
Yeah, so she's only young, good potential.
Yeah, she is brand new on the World Cup tour, pretty much, isn't she?
Yeah,
this is the first time she's been memorable on the World Cup tour.
And while she wasn't doing the C rail a lot of the times, we did see a lot of nice front board pretzels on that first one from her, which is becoming her signature trick.
Yeah, but I think in a qualies run, she was one of those that obviously she's a very good rail rider. Has had all the way through training, had plenty of different kind of lines that are in. Did end up going 50 to front lip to fakie on the first rail, cab 2-1 on the second rail, which was on that easy rail on the right, but it was one of the best cab 2-1s I think I've seen. That was locked in perfectly at 90, held And then just, kind of, I guess, what we expect to see from someone like Jess who rips rails so well. Then went into cab double under 9 with an Indy, and then back 7 stale, and then 50-50 with a wildcat out.
Nice.
So it's pretty good run top to bottom. She was off very slightly early on that first section, but that was kind of par for the course. It was pretty tricky to fully lock in. So it was kind of the same as what a lot of the other riders are doing. But yeah, super locked and well executed on section 2. Good, decent amp on section 3. Wasn't the strongest held grab, but had that risk of actually going for the double. Short grab on section 4, which is why she was then qualifying down in that kind of last position in. Was a little bit squiggly. Good amplitude, and then hit the hard rail on section 5. Well locked in, and add an inversion out, so added some good rail variety from that composition perspective, which I was on. So just kind of the mistake on section 4 being the real reason why she was kind of low down in that qualification ranking.
Just out for that one was Lily Dewanaway and Reira Irabuchi from Japan.
Yeah, so Lily did 50-50 to no slide, then front board on the long ass middle rail in the second section, which we saw her lock it in practice really nicely. Don't think it was quite as well locked in qualification, but it was still decent enough, and kind of that was the risk reward rail. If she'd slipped off early, the points would have been slashed. That's the risk. The reward being when she locks it to the end. It definitely got the boost, and then went front 7 Indy, and then back 7 stale, and then 50 front 3 at the final section. So comparing that to Jess's run, a little bit weaker on kind of the rails, just kind of only having the 50 to no slide rather than kind of full front lip to fakie. Cab 2 from Jess definitely won out compared to the front board, and then cab double under compared to front 7. Back 7 cancels each other out, and then the 50 wildcat from Jess beats the 50 front 3 from Lily.
Yeah. It's a nice little breakdown.
Yeah.
So trick kind of just went to Jess on that one.
Amplitude a little bit shorter on section 3, so I think amplitude went to Jess as well in terms of criteria.
Cool.
I guess the other thing, so we've gone through trick for trick, Jess versus Lily. The other thing that Lily was kind of lacking was cab and switchback directions all the way through. So there was no switch in the run, just the 2 directions, and that was something we'd emphasized from a composition perspective. From the variety, top to bottom, all 5 sections, we were going to reward those that had more and more different directions in there.
Yeah, well, that was what we'd asked for. We basically said all 4 primary directions throughout the top to bottom, of course, including rails. So to leave them out, obviously leaves a few points on the table in composition.
One of the positives I had from her run was at least the first section was the backside transfer, whereas a lot of people opted for the kind of frontside transfer where you could see the full rail.
Yeah.
So did have a bonus kind of little look back there. And then looking at Reira's run, who was second one out, was the no slide pretzel 2 on just the down bar, so missed the transfer section at the top. And then went cab 2 on onto that small rail, and then cab 9 nose, back 7 mute, and then 50 front 3. So pretty similar latter part of the run to what we saw from Lily. It was just short on section 4 with the average kind of short-ish grab. Good amplitude on section 3, and then the easier rail on section 2. Good trick with the cab 2, but it wasn't as well executed as we saw from Jess qualifying through. So there's a couple of little points there. Did have a bit more of a directional flavor in there, but yeah, it was pretty close between those 2, but Jess definitely won through when we compare trick versus trick and the criteria as well.
So that takes us through to finals. Yeah, so that one was a cold day. It's about all I have for that one.
Baltic, I think is the correct expression. That was as many layers as you could physically ride in.
Yeah, we got up there early and
it was one of those days where you can feel the cold in your nose and all, like, everything starts to feel bunged up. So it wasn't, it was chilly. It was clear, if I remember correctly, like blue sky, but just, a very clear, cold day sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting start to run one of women's finals, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think training rode well.
Yeah.
A little bit of a break. Started finals, and then first one out was Jess. She got hung up on the rail. It was a little bit sticky. She went down. Jamie was next up. She went back lip and sort of, I guess where she took off was kind of nollying off the heels.
Yeah.
And then the way she landed was a bit heel heavy, and she got stuck as well and went down super hard and like cracked her helmet. That was a bad fall, which was super unfortunate. And then they sort of did stop for a second, check the rail. They didn't see anything as such. Like there was no burrs in the rail at that point.
Yeah.
So they restarted. Then Mila came through and
greased it 50 front lip 2, I think.
Yeah, like greased it, like, and almost where the other 2 had gone down, she kind of leant into it and pushed through that. And so we sort of didn't think there was much going on with the rail. And then Mari's come through and she got caught her heels and absolutely chewed the rail. And then there's a photo getting around
Yeah.
after Murray'd hit it from where she's scraped back probably a 50 mil burr on the thing.
Yeah, and it was really unclear, even when we went back and watched the replay, whether it was like rail error or rider error. Jess's looked like she never really locked enough to transfer, and as the board was slipping up and the radial side bit was kind of coming in, that then stuck a bit. Jamie's looked a little bit unlucky, but then not into back lip. You're always going to, from that kind of heel side takeoff, you're always going to be a little bit heel heavy. So that one, again, could go either way. And it did look like Murray, whether it was momentum pushed her onto a heel edge or stickiness of the rail pushed her onto a heel edge or just didn't quite lock it in from where she did. So it was a very awkward situation.
Yeah, there's definitely some coincidence in there, but then the fact that Mila sort of went through and greased it in the middle. But yeah, like you say, I think Jess's, when she was just slipping off and she went to lean into it and just get a bit more out of it, and that's when it caught. So they were definitely around the same spot of the rail. They got up there, fixed up the burr from Murray, and then after that, it rode fine for the rest of the comms.
So first one off the podium,
Momo Suzuki from Japan, and she got a 65.86. Went switch front blunt to, into switch blunt to forward, front 10 melon, back 7 mute, and finished with a 50-50 front 3 tail.
Yeah. So was another one missing the transfer on the first rail, just kind of hit the down part, but difficult trick in terms of switch from blunt 2, was kind of drifting a little bit off the side and slightly rotated, never really kind of locked in at fully 90. And then, the switch back blunt to forward was on that long middle rail and then was again slipping off slightly early. So it was a little bit execution on the first 2 rails that kept her out of that conversation for the top 3. Front 10, she was under rotated. Back 7, she was very slightly under rotated. And then the 50 front 3 tail at the end was fine off that cannon. She did try step up and go back double 10 on her run 2. But it was just a very heavy hand drag that we had to penalize for. So whilst the difficulty stepped up in run 2, the execution dropped even further.
Yeah.
And then, came up pretty short on the under rotation on the front 10.
So, there was a few instabilities on that one, which is why it was a decent step up to the podium. So, in third, we had Kokomo Marasi, 10 points higher. So,
which kind of says 10 points in section by section.
It's a lot when people are usually you're getting, 15 people in that 70s range. So, Kokomo went board slide Pretz 2. Switchboard slide 2, cab 9 mute, front double 10 truck into lip slide 2 down the bottom.
So pretty greased on the top 2 rails, and kind of nice variety because she had one back nose, like one pretzel 2, one same way 2. My only kind of sticking point on that as a composition is a back nose pretz 2 and a switch back blunt 2. As soon as you're on the rail, you're under your left foot as a regular rider and spinning 2 out the same way. So they look different on paper. In person, they're pretty similar, but still rewarding the fact it's one pretzel and one not to pretzel. And she took that easier rail, that short rail on the right hand side. And obviously props for, she stepped it up in run 2, but in run 1, the front double 10 had a very exciting use of course with a head bolt on landing.
Yeah, the head tap.
Which kind of threw me a little bit because we talk a lot about hand touches and hand drags and how much pressure there is through. And it just looks like Kokomo got the full rotation in, but then just kind of folded at the lips.
She stomped so hard, like her whole body, like to head touch, like she literally compressed like a spring.
And there's no weight through the head. So is it just a very excessive afterbang? Is it deduction, etc.? Cleaned it up in run 2, fortunately, so we didn't have to really talk about it too much. But super progressive on the jumps in terms of the cab, double 9 on that kind of double cork-ish axis rather than being double underflip. And then the front dub 10, cool to see in a slopestyle run, of course.
And that was really good, that front double 10. Yeah. It's a nice one.
And it's very what we expect from Kokomo nowadays with that front dub. It's kind of, I'd say it's almost her trick. It was missing switch backside. The only backside in the whole run was the kind of the pretzel in section 1. So it was missing a full direction and kind of only had half a direction on section 1. So a little bit came down to variety. And the very slight jet ski on the cab 9 and run 2, but it was just a tail press rather than any kind of lean back sort of thing. So a couple of bits of execution and lacking variety, which is why she was down in kind of third place.
Cool.
Then into second place,
Mari Fukada from Japan. So she had started with the switch front blunt 2 into switch back blunt 2, cab 9 mute, back 10 mute, and a lip slide underflip.
Really cool after the big slam on rail 1 in run 1 to kind of come back
Oh, that's
run
right.
two.
Yeah, we didn't think she was even going to show for run 2
Yeah.
because she went down hard.
Yeah.
Like that was falling backwards down the hill. She got absolutely smoked. So to come back and then not only come back, but then put down a run like that was impressive.
Like, obviously not one of our criteria, but just as a snowboarder, you have to kind of give a little salute from the side, and doing the same trick on the rail and not kind of saying, actually, I could just do switch back 1-2, like still come in switch, finish switch, but yeah.
Yeah, and commit like that.
So, so props did have all the directions, because the last rotation is kind of frontside-y a little bit with the lip under flip 4. And very slight under rotation on the cab 9 was the little sticking point. Other than that, pretty solid. I guess the weak bit is just the switchback blunt 2 on that easier rail in section 2 on the right hand side. Kind of easier trick, easy rail, but still well executed.
Yeah, I think that was one of those ones the section judges hit, but with composition and the overall execution of the run, it was definitely enough to bump her into second in that one.
Yeah, exactly. So, cool. And then our winner, and we haven't mentioned her name on top of the podium for quite some time, so really cool to see her back at the top, but Canadian Laurie Bluin.
Yeah, she hasn't competed in a while, so she was one of those ones that with the qualification system, she was basically qualified for the Canadians last season or beginning of the year, so she's basically had the whole season off tour and just been, obviously still putting reps in because it's a great way to come back and put on a bib and win just before Milan. It's what was a 50th World Cup start. So, yeah, to have a monumental, like I guess a career one with the 50th World Cup start and then to do it with a win and first comp of the season, second last slope before Milan, it all, definitely lined up for her.
Yeah, like wonderful confidence boost, I reckon. One World Cup and take the win.
Fully. She put it down in her second run. So she went 50-50 lip 2. Board slide to fakie through the down slat down, which we spoke about earlier as being definitely one of the most difficult tricks and consequential tricks on that second feature. Into a cab dub 9 Indy. So on the first run, she did a really nice sort of grab switch up. New one for her. A new one I haven't actually seen on that trick, so that was really cool.
Second run, I think, was, just the double with the mute.
Yeah, so I think her second one was a scoring run, and then she went front dub 10, which she's got one of the better front dub 10s in the business.
Yeah.
And finished with a
50 backflip.
Yeah, sorry. Finished with a 50 backflip.
On that weird rail as well. Like, as a snowboarder looking at that last rail section, that third rail will be the very last one I got around to hitting. Like flat with a little whoopty kink at the end. Yeah. And it was like pretty laid out, pretty good amplitude off it, locked at the end of the rail as well. So whilst, on paper, not the most difficult trick, there's little heels on the landing, but good amplitude out of it, well locked. So it was close with Mary. I think this is one we kind of had to talk about a little bit at the time. But well executed kind of top to bottom. Hardest rail in section 2 and really well executed on the jumps. And I had technically slightly more difficult than Mary's on the jumps, just with the cab double 9 to cab 9 mute. I'd kind of go with the double on that one just because of the risk of twice under. And then front double 10 compared to back 10. I'd again weight the front double 10 with the last blind landings. Had a little bit of technical difficulty on the jumps that just kind of carried it through. I would have had Mary's last trick weighted higher than Laurie's last trick, but across the whole run, top to bottom. Laurie's flow and kind of execution did seem very flawless, was very well ridden top to bottom.
Yeah.
And had the transfer rail at the top, so it was good use of course, rather than Mary hitting just the down part of that first one. So I think use of course definitely kind of went towards Laurie's, kind of part of that variety composition sort of thing.
Yeah, and definitely a confidence booster for what was essentially her one and only event of the season. She dropped in, won, and then dipped out. And I guess we'll see her here in Milan.
Yeah, and fun fact, so well, not really a fun fact, this is just me manipulating statistics, but when she drops into the Livigno slopestyle course, the Milan Winter Olympics, she'll have had 100% success rate on slopestyle starts to slopestyle wins this season. On a Fizz World Cup or Fizz event. So there we go. That's my not so fun fact. Before we move into the men's, I guess just congrats to the men's podium.
Yeah,
it's cool riding in tough conditions, and it got me excited. It was a good slopestyle.
Yeah, stoked to get a slopestyle away for how that week was looking. So.
Yeah. And women's slopestyle, the last Olympics, was my favorite event of the entire trip. So still goes down to my favorite event I've judged. So I'm hoping more of the same this time around.
Nice.
Anyway, into men's. This one, we sadly went back to the double up format, which is always plan B, but seems to be coming up as plan A more and more as we go through. Just with the numbers, the time schedule, having free ski in Aspen and halfpipe in Aspen as well at the same time, obviously added some timeline difficulties for the week. So we went to double up, split everyone into 2 heats. And it is still, no matter how many times we've done it for Big Air this season, Slopestyle this season, all the times last season, World Champs, it's still a shit format. I still hate it.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. Luckily, with this one, they let us take a few extras in. We managed to take 8 from each heat, so we took 16 men through. But like you say, it just doesn't get any better. I would, especially on an Olympic year, I would push for the next cycle that we just don't do double ups in that final period. There's an extra weather day built in, or some way that, yeah, you can have all the judges' eyes on all the runs when they count like that with a points chase for Olympics.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing was the points chase, because top 16 never really is an issue. The issue for points comes from those people trying to find a point or 2 points, etc. 15th to 25th kind of position. So, spoiler alert, we did do double up in Laax the week after, but then at least we had a semi-final. So we take the top 12 through and either have an extra weather day, so you don't have to do double up. We could just run a men's qualies day and do women on a separate day, or put in a day so we can have a semi-finals for the men's and possibly for the women's, like however it goes.
And it was a tough long day there. Like, we'd already been pushed back with the start for the women's. It was snowing. The weather was there, it was flat light, and then we were trying to cram men's double ups in before it got dark. So it just, we were up against it, I think, in that one.
Yeah. And I was the assistant head judge, which means I practically do nothing but do everything during the day. So I was trying to steno both heats, and it's just a bit of a brain fuckery, to be honest. And because the difficulty with double up, it's easy because you go back to OI and you're just looking at 30 riders. But the difficulty is the mesh between the 2 heats, and trying to manage those and keep them level is basically impossible. We kind of need Tom Cruise and his group of friends to come in to run a Mission Impossible double up. But we at least got it done. So let's look first at Heat 1. And first one out, Beggsy, who was it?
Ian Mattioli. So that one was one of those situations where it was a really good run, like really good. Like, we're talking in this one, even though we went to 16, so it was 8 through from each heat, there was 10 or 12, like one heat especially, which was that heat, was super stacked, and they were good runs. So in that one, he put down a heater. He just got beaten something better. There's a bit of a split panel in that one.
Yeah, there were some different opinions for sure. His run was 50 to front blunt 2 on the first rail, and then picked the little rail on section 2 and went hardway front 4 on, then went switchback 12, back 16, and then cab 2 on 4 off on the last middle flat rail.
So he had a really good jump combo.
One of the few to put a 16 down on the day.
Yeah, one of the handful, really. And then it came down to the second rail and like the length of the slide on that, and almost like potentially the rail choice. Had he have done that and still gapped and done the same trick on the down flat down, probably would have scored a little bit higher.
Yeah. It was just, so Filippo, his coach, came up to chat to me afterwards, and always enjoy having a conversation with Filippo because he comes respectfully and with an honest question. And I was pretty honest, and that was a bit of difference opinion on the panel itself. Some people liked it, some people didn't. My personal opinion as a non-scoring judge was that was poor trick selection on that rail. Yeah, on paper, hardway front 4 on to switch is sick, is legit. Like, very few would try that, but he slid a very small portion of the rail and slipped off early. We looked at a frame. Well, I looked at a frame last week when I was kind of going through everything, and yeah, he was on the rail for, let's say, the last quarter, but then you can then see the underside of his board as he slips off on the far side. So it was difficult trick, poor execution, and should have just gone for a different trick in that section. That was my kind of personal feeling on that whole run.
It definitely came down to rail choice. And I mean, when you look at just in on that one with Dane Menzies, who's doing a switchback lip through the down flat down, arguably the best trick on that feature with the most consequence. And yes, it's not section by section, it's overall, but when that's the sticking point from the run,
that's a very easy comparison.
It's an easy way to sort of flip it. But yeah, like I said, some had him in. I could have easily had Ian in with the rest of that run, but yeah, rail choice and execution on that one saw him just out.
And I guess if we compare that to Dane's run, because I've got it written in front of me, his was a board slide to switch up to another board slide 2 out on the first rail. So compared to 50 front blunt 2, that would go to Dane just from a board slide, transfer the switch up rather than a 50 to front blunt. Section 2, as we say, was switchback lip through the down flat down compared to hardway front and 4 on. On paper, you might go front 4, but on the day was definitely the switchback lip through the double kink. Switchback 12 and switchback 12 cancel each other out. Dane went back 12 on the second jump. Ian went back 16, so obviously would go to Ian. And then they both went cab T4 on the last rail. So it does, at the end of the day, kind of like 2 rails to Dane, 1 jump to Ian. The other 2 sections cancel each other out, and trick for trick. That was how the result came out.
Yeah.
So then second one out in that heat was Kuba Hones. Did 50 front lip 2, then back nose Pretz 2 on the down flat down, and then cab 12 gorilla, so both hands on that toe edge. So little grab boost because it does add some complexity into what is not the most tricky rotation.
Yeah, it's a unique one, and it's kind of a bit of a signature for him, so it gets the job done, especially when it goes to section by section. It works well.
Stole it off Evan Roble, who was doing them a lot last season, I think with the triple. And then went back rodeo 9 nose, and then switchboard side under flip 4. So it was missing that switch backside direction. So from a variety standpoint all the way top to bottom, Ian and Dane, the 2 above him, did have all 4 directions. That was kind of the instant killer, but did have kind of good variety in terms of the off axis on the last rail, pretzel out, and the transfer. But yeah, it was the lack of the direction.
Yeah.
Cool. Into heat number 2.
Just out in that one was Mark McMorris from Canada.
Yeah. So went 50 front 2 transfer to board slide to forward. It was off slightly early on that one, didn't quite fully lock it in, and then went to the down flat down and went for the gap. And I've got it as a hard way, non-hard way back to gap to out sort of thing, because it's technically a hard way back to because he's from the hard way direction, but he still takes off on his toe edge because of that right hand turn. So he kind of like, there's a bit of hard way, but it's not full hard way. So yeah, hard way, non-hard way back to 2. And then when switchback 12 with a decent grab of the melon, then back triple 14 indie, good grab with a very slight hand touch, very stock mark trick. That's the trick we've used to see from him. And then front blunt 4 on that middle rail. So was missing the cab rotation, which is what kind of kept him out of there. Was off a little bit early on rail 1 and a bit edgy on rail 2. So trick selection and difficulty was up there for sure with the 270 transfer and the hard way, non-hard way. But yeah, just execution on a few little bits there was.
And it was very close on this bubble too. And I guess the other one out for that was Rene Rinakungas.
Yeah, so Rene went 50 to front blunt 2 with a bit of an average lock. Then on the A rail was an off the toes front 2 gap to forward. It wasn't fully locked on that one. Then the nose butter back rodeo 12 tail with an under rotation. That was the trick that we got. We saw quite a lot in those big airs start of the season. And then went switchback double rodeo 9 tail, and then a board slide cork 6 out of the C cannon rail. I called it the C rail because it was on the right. It wasn't. It was a straight cannon rail.
But C, ABC if you're doing features that way. And there was just a few little instabilities. It was just a little bit loose. It's kind of that Rene has you hanging on the edge of your seat. Like it's cool to watch, and it was, like you say, it was really, really good to see some of those unique big air tricks getting dropped in section by section, like in slope. So, yeah, the standard of slope was good, but yeah, he was just those few little executional things that kept him out.
Just too loose. Rene gets away with loose quite a lot because he makes it look like well executed loose, if that makes any sense, because that's a bit of an oxymoron. But yeah, this one was sadly too loose and just missing that cab rotation. So the last one in on heat 2 was Su Yiming, who went back nose to back blunt 2 on the first rail with the transfer, then front 1 3 out on the middle long ass rail, nose butter cab 12, so good progressive takeoff, and then back 14 nose, short grab because he had it, lost it early, but still at least had it at some point of it. And then board slide, back nose pretzel cork 4 on the last rail. So a little bit of progression in there to boost to the variety in terms of different styles of takeoffs, and just better executed than we saw from Mark and Rene.
Yeah, and another one trying to bring some big air tricks into slope.
Yeah, firing shots, I would say, because he learned those over Christmas. He learned 3 of the riders' tricks.
It was very, very much a case of that. It felt like that, didn't it? It's just like, look what I've gone and learned over the Christmas period, and I'm doing it in a slope, not a big air too. So it was a bit of the old tactical, drop some new good timing to drop new tricks, probably.
Yeah, and it worked for him. He's got himself into finals.
Cool. Into finals.
Cool. Yeah, so finals, same conditions we had for women's because it was on the same day, so it was cold as anything, but it felt like it was a very good men's contest. Standouts for finals.
So for me, I've got two of them. Dusty, so just looking good out there. The way he opened up with his switchboard slide to front board slide 270, pretty much nailed the top section on score one for both his runs. And then he was kind of looking good throughout the whole course. He's just really unlucky to go down on the very last jump in both the runs. So you're sort of watching him build. It was like one of those slopestyle runs that built and built and built. And then it was like just as he went down, you're just like, oh my goodness, he's crashed on the jump.
He always has lazy stees, but maybe that was slightly too lazy. But yeah, sadly that was because he fell on it, I think, exactly the same way on both runs.
On both runs, yeah. So it was a shame.
Consistent.
Yeah. And then the other one for that was Hiroto Ogiwara, who just his last section, winning that front blunt 8 to finish a run. It's definitely a big exclamation point on the run. But unfortunately, there's a few things higher up the run that, had him out.
Sadly, one trick doesn't make a slopestyle run.
Exactly. But yeah, they're standouts. Any standouts for you?
First kind of standout for me was the first one off the podium. So Judd Henkes went 50 back one transfer on the first rail, which it's one of those tricks on paper. You're like, yeah, it's just a back one, but actually locking a back one into a 50 from that kind of gap and the way he did it adds a lot into it for
and
sure.
And the way he did it's a point on that, like it was nice.
Yeah. And then cab 2-2 on the middle rail, which was the nice long one. It's probably the only way you can get away with a cab 2-2 and get close to the podium because it was nice, held all the way to the end. And then we went into kind of Judd's style of snowboarding with hard way back double 10 mu on the first jump. So off the heels with the double axis as well. So progressive in terms of takeoff and axis itself as well. We've seen hard way back 10, 12, 14s up to kind of 16 from Seb 2s, but we've not really seen much of that hard way back double axis.
Yeah, he got the best two scores on that jump, both in the nines club, I guess, reflecting the difficulty, progression, and execution in that one. And we've been waiting to see it. He said, like you say, he's done all these different variations, but not the hard way back double 10. So it was an MBD in competition. And again, another one of those big air tricks sneaking its way into a slopestyle course.
Yep. And then he added his second big air trick, the nose butter front 14 with the melon on the next jump. So 2 jumps, 2 very progressive tricks, two tricks that have scored well in big airs.
Yeah.
Or would have scored
well, he
well
got the second best trick on that as well. So he really, put down in that jump section. Unfortunately, I think for that one, it's just the difficulty on that rail too with the cab 2. So
yeah, that was kind of the sticking point was the fact he was off very slightly early and the short grab on the nose butter front 14 and then front 2 cork 4 out of the last rail.
Yeah, and for that he was just beaten by 3 very good runs. It was less than 2 points separating the top 3, and you could have easily flip-flopped on the top 3, but yeah, for Judd it's probably that sticking point on the cab 2 too, I think.
Yeah, and he was also missing switch backside.
Yeah.
So there's, like, again, tiny points. The progressiveness almost balanced out the lack of switch backside because it was such a progressive jump line. But yeah, there's a couple, little execution, little variety, but kind of decent to get him up into 4th.
Yeah.
And then on to our podium, 3rd place.
Dane Menzies. Yeah, this was a absolute heater of a run. Yeah, talking to people this is one of those podiums that could have flip-flopped.
Yeah, you could have been quite happy whichever order those 3 were in, you probably would have been quite happy being like, cool.
Reading his run and looking at what he did, he easily could have been in first. It was an absolute heater. I think he won nearly every section. He won 4 of the sections.
Which isn't bad on a 5-section course.
Yeah, which is incredible. Like starting off the board slide to switch front board 2 into that switchback lip through the down flat down, which was just all week. He was just lacing it like it's a video section trick. So to do that in a slopestyle is absolutely sick.
Yeah. It was very, again, on paper, you'd be like, it's just a switchback lip compared to other stuff, but the way he locks it through the kink, and again, come in the way he does because he's goofy footed, so switchback side, he's on his heel edge, on that right hand turn, left foot forward to not slip off on the far side on the switchback lip is like committed really nicely into it. We saw it go not wrong a few times in training, but like he just didn't lock it in training, and there was a lot of FU rails coming
anytime there's a kink, it's going to mess with your consistency, I think. So, he was nailing that all week. It's a high-risk, progressive, difficult one for the comp.
But,
okay, following that, he went into a switchback 16 into back 16.
Yep, it's a good 16-16 combo.
Yep, which we said in qualies, there wasn't a lot of people actually went 16, so to go back-to-back 16s in finals was a good one, and then finished off with a cab 2-4 on the bottom. So
yeah, it's a did have all the directions, was progressive with the 1616, had the rail tricks at the top for sure. The only kind of sticking points I had, and this kind of kept him down a little bit in composition, was just the execution on the 16 just wasn't, the first 16, the switchback one, wasn't picture perfect.
Yeah,
There
he
was
dropped the grab a little early, I think, on that one.
Yeah. And then the cab 2-4 at the end was just kind of just drifting slightly across the rail, didn't fully lock in and then go again. So they seem like 2 minor points, but it was 3 very good runs on the podium, and that was just one of those sticking points that we kind of had. But yeah, if he'd won or come in second, you could have easily understood why that would have been.
Yeah, certainly when I was breaking this run down for the podcast, I could have easily sent him in first or second. Like, he felt good difficulty, very progressive, execution was there, the variety was there, he went absolutely massive, and then the fact that he won 4 sections, it's definitely a good podium in this one. So
yeah, for sure. Then that takes us into second place, which is Su Yiming, who obviously we just talked about in qualies for Heat 2, last one in. So went from being the last one in to second on the podium is pretty good conversion.
And he was second in sections and second in composition.
Yeah.
50 front lip 2 into back 2-2, cab 14 nose butter Indy, into switchback 16 style, and 50-50 roadie. It was sort of a back roadie 5 style or sort of front flip back 1 type of thing off the bottom rail.
Yeah, however you kind of call that one.
Yeah.
So did have all the directions in there. I guess kind of like the weak points where Dane might have had above Su Yiming was the fact first rail was a 50 transfer rather than a board-to-board transfer, and then the back 2-2 on the down flat down was gapped.
Gapped the consequence where Dane went switchback lip through the whole thing. So yeah, again, there you'd probably go trick for trick.
But then did have the progressive nose but a cab 14 into the switchback 16, so progressive takeoff. And for me, like the nose but a cab 14 to switchback 16 is kind of as good a combo given the nose but a takeoff as a 16-16 on jumps.
And that was as good a nose but a 14 as we'd ever seen.
Yeah, that was
like
nice.
We talk about him learning it over the Christmas period, but that was, it was very nice.
Yeah, that was very, very good to see. And then had kind of a bit of rail variety in terms of the gap and then the inversion out of the last rail as well. So again, tiny point, but just something we kind of consider in that composition. So
yeah, let's take us on to the winner.
Yeah,
another good run.
Yeah, first time winning a World Cup.
Yeah, finally got his first World Cup win of his career.
Yeah, I felt like all the way through the big airs, he was so like watching training. He had him down as like, oh yeah, in all big airs, he's gonna kind of completely sweep it away. But
he wins training a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does.
Shame there's no points for training, but he definitely wins training with the amount of runs he puts down and the level of the runs he puts down.
Yeah, like the reps he gets. You don't see a lot of swimming from behind closed doors, but the amount of back 19s we've seen from Jade, like the amount of reps he has on that trick and like success and stomp rating,
it's pretty, looks locked. So yeah, it's a Jake Cantor from the USA won the Aspen Grand Prix.
Yeah,
and locked himself a position in Milano.
Yeah, off that win. So he went 50-50 front lip 2 into back 2-2. Basically the same run as Sue until this point. Then he went switchback 12 nose into back 19 melon and nose slide under 6. And from the switchback 12, like the after bang in this run, like the way he sort of landed and like the execution was flawless.
Yeah, I've actually got that as one of my bullet points. Perfect execution, top to bottom. And the bit I really liked, had a decent run. This was his second run. In run 1, did the same run, but did the back 18 and then went back nose pretzel 6 out of the rail. This one went back 19 and then switch back blunt cork 6 out sort of thing. So the sticking point after his first run was he only had the 3 directions, was missing that cab. This one, you could argue that actually switchback blunt cork 6 is easier than back nose pretzel 6, but the drop in difficulty in that last section was easily covered by the boost you got from variety, ticking off all 4 directions.
Yeah, like he still had a decent rotation off that rail for the section judges, but it was very much his composition score that kind of bumped him up in this. He was sitting in third after run 1, but lacked the variety for you guys to give him the nod, and then added the execution, added the cab direction, and up the back 18 to a back 19, and suddenly you're looking at 3 or 4 little step ups, so you have no choice but to bump that score accordingly.
Yeah, so kind of well deserved. It was a flawless run. It was sick.
Best execution of the day, had variety, had difficulty, but like I said, we could easily see an argument for all 3 on that podium.
Cool. So so Jake Cantor won, flawless run, top to bottom.
Yeah, so first slope of the season done and dusted.
Yeah. which felt awesome. Felt great to get back into slopestyle. Composition's a weird one to judge because you just have to kind of tweak your brain a little bit for how you normally look at these runs that we've been doing. So yeah, that felt awesome.
It was tough conditions with both the weather and the format for qualifying, but super stoked to get it done and get some points in the bag for all those going for Olympic selection. I'm sure they would have been stoked to get a slopestyle away as well. So when we've only got 2 in a short period, it was epic to get it done.
Cool. So we'll get into the next episode rather soon. We've got a bit of a chill schedule this first week of the Olympics, isn't it? Because everything's focused on big air and it's all night training.
Yeah.
We get to get the afternoons to ourselves.
Yeah, onto Laax for the
Laax,
of the season.
For the best event of the season, which I'm very excited to talk about in the next episode, which will be the Laax Halfpipe.
Yeah.
And then we'll do slopestyle just after that. So expect a couple episodes kind of coming out rapid fire. But because we're in Livigno, I feel like it's time to bring back the Milano Cortina jingle. And we had a chat with a couple of pros, Valentino Gazzelli and Maddie Mastro and Copper, just to get their predictions on who's going to be on the podium in Livigno. Obviously, we can't do any predictions ourselves, so it's nice to get the athletes to do it. And we got them to call. So Valentino did the predictions for women's big air, slope, and pipe, and Maddie did the men's big air, slope, and pipe.
Yeah, we thought it was unfair to make them pick their own disciplines because surely they want to win.
Does modesty or confidence come through?
They wanted to win the disciplines they were going for. So.
Yeah. So we got them to pick the opposite ones. So here we are with Valentino and Maddie for their pro predictions or predictions.
Milano Cortina, that's the next big scene. The Olympics are coming, a dream so keen, so tune in close. Get the lowdown for real, behind the scenes of snowboarding, how it all feels.
All right, so we're here with Val after day 2 in Copper. How was training?
Training was good. I'm happy to be back at a pipe comp again. It's been like 15 months since I competed in a pipe comp, so yeah, really excited.
Sick. And how's the change going from like big air the last couple of weeks straight into pipe?
Pretty good. I guess I just trusted my muscle memory to get me through, and I think it has, even though they're a little bit different. But I'm definitely happy to be at a pipe comp again. Big air's insane nowadays. So gnarly what the boys are doing and the girls. But yeah, no, it's good.
Sweet. And then obviously we've got Olympics in a couple of weeks' time. I want to hear your predictions for it. It's probably 6 weeks, isn't it? Yeah. So should we start off women's big air? What's your podium pick at the Olympics?
I would say Mari first. I haven't seen anything from Zoe in a little while, but I think she's definitely been in the lab. So probably Zoe second. And then probably Mia or Kokomo third.
Interesting. Do you want to roll the dice and pick a name?
I would say Kokomo.
Cool. All right, so Mari, Zoe, Kokomo in the big air. What about women's slope?
Women's slope. Probably Zoe first. I would say Mari second. And I would say, I'll say this Mia for third, yeah.
Cool. All right, so we got big air and slope wrapped up, and then obviously pipe.
Halfpipe. All right, so this one's tough because there's a few girls that are super gangster nowadays. Someone that's really stood out to me is Sarah. Like she's got such a gangster style. She's got the tricks. Like she's done back-to-back 10s already, I'm pretty sure. Like double 10s, which is like no other girl's doing that. But then you can never count out Gown. Like I've seen her do a switchback 12.
Yeah.
Which is like insane. Like flat. So you can never count her out. And then obviously Chloe. She'll be wanting to make it 3 in a row. So
you reckon
it's gonna be a tough one. I feel like the last 2 Olympics, you could be pretty sure that Chloe was gonna win. This one, I think any of those 3.
Cool. Do you want to put an order on them, or do you just want to gamble that that's the podium in whichever?
Oh, I didn't put an order.
Yeah, just to really put you on the spot, off the cuff.
It's tough because there's people that I want to see do well, but then there's people that you could think like actually are going to.
Yeah.
I would say the podium's probably going to be, I would say Gown, Chloe, Sarah.
Cool. I like it. There we go. That's pretty good. All right, we'll leave that one there.
All right.
Wish you the best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks, bro.
And
Appreciate
if
it.
the podcast or the predictions come through, we'll give you a high five
All
afterwards.
right. Sounds good.
All right, so we're here with Maddie for another installment of Pros Predictions ahead of the big Olympic Games. We're going to start with men's slope. Maddie, who's your pick for the
Okay,
podium?
so this is like a mix of who I want to be there and who I think will be on that podium, but I think it's going to go Ming, Red Gerard, and then Ollie Martin in third place.
Interesting.
That's like partially who do I want there, and then also I think is going to be there.
Cool. Yeah. That's pretty a good balance between the head and the heart. I like it.
Yeah, that would be like, and because I could go all heart, and that would be, I don't think that's fair.
USA 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we got Dusty, we got Red, we got Ollie. Yeah, okay, so that's what I'd go there. Let me get my names for men's big air. Now that's a trickier one.
Yeah.
Again, I have Ollie Martin on a podium there.
Cool.
But that's very much my heart, but it's backed with my head. I
Sweet,
think it's
yeah.
a very practical choice.
He did have some results last year, Aspen podium.
I think he's like he's like not an underdog, but kind of an underdog. So Ollie Martin's there. It's been hard to like, Ming has just been undeniable so far. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the head of like Ming's going to be there.
Yeah, back-to-back wins at the start of the season.
Yeah. And then the third one, bro, I don't know. Okay, and then the heart wants Renee.
Cool.
And I'll just end with that.
Sweet. So you're going to go
That one was
Ollie
hard.
first or Ming first?
Let's go Ming, Ollie, Renee.
Cool, perfect.
I think that's, again, another practical.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of practicality in there, but a lot of heart.
Sweet. And then I guess to the discipline that might be a bit easier for you, but
This
I
one
think
will be a
harder
little-
for everyone else around the
yeah,
world.
this
but
one will be-
yeah, men's pipe.
Okay, this one, honestly, hard, but okay, shit. Okay, this one's really hard for me. I think on the podium, I think it's gonna go Ayumu, Yuto, Alessandro.
Cool, interesting.
I would love to have Scotty James on a podium. I love a Scotty James in there. Okay, let's go. Oh, shit. I don't know.
We could do a head one and a heart one if you want.
But both of my head and heart ones, like, that's too hard.
Yeah.
Like, because I want Scotty on the podium. I want Alessandro on the podium. I want Cam on the podium. Okay, I would like a Scotty, Cam, Alessandro podium. What order? I don't care.
Cool. Tied for first place.
And
Three-way
then,
tie.
but I think that's so not realistic because then we've just completely left out the Japanese, which is like, you can't leave the Japanese out of any conversation. So I think like practical, we're going to have a Yumu in there. I mean, literally looking at this list, it's very likely we could have Japanese sweep,
Yeah.
but I would love for like an Australian or an American or a New Zealander to mix that up.
Cool. Love the answers.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Val didn't do his discipline.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise it'd be Val first, Val
Yeah,
second,
that's
Val third.
that's fair. That's very fair. That's very, very fair.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then I guess how are you feeling ahead of the World Cups ahead of you? It's got quite a few to go.
We have quite a few to go. We have it feels like we have no time before the Olympics, but time seems to move rather slow yet fast lately. I'm feeling okay. I'm coming off an ankle injury that I've kind of been battling. So it's not exactly going to plan. Nothing ever does. But we're just rolling with it and taking it as it comes to me.
Sweet. Well,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, thanks so much for jumping in and joining
course.
the predictions, and good luck tomorrow in qualies.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Great to get their predictions out there. Stay tuned, obviously, for the next couple of weeks. We'll see if those predictions come through from Val and Maddie. And I guess that's all it for this episode.
Yeah, on to Laax. Catch you soon.
On to Laax. Catch you soon. Make sure you're following us at Instagram at On the Knuckle. Head to our website, ontheknuckle.com, to get any merch. We've got hats, t-shirts, hoodies, etc. up there. And of course, we're in Italy. Coffee is one of the key things that the Italians have a lot of. So if you want to get us a coffee and you feel like treating us to an espresso or a cappuccino, head to buymeacoffee.com/On the Knuckle. We're always grateful for the support from the pod. In the meantime, enjoy all the Olympic coverage wherever you're watching it. If we get on camera, we'll give you a wave. But that's it. Ciao for now.
Ciao.
Finally, ciao for now works.
The Olympics are coming, a dream so keen, so tune in close. Get the low down